Ambassador,
Thank
Prime Minister Modi has broken his silence, reciprocating Trump's praise and calling the relationship forward-looking. How significant is this diplomatically? How do we see this?
Well, I think that this is, the fact that President Trump has given that very positive tweet today. That's really significant because the one that tweeted came yesterday was very concerning for all of us. That why should he be saying about America having lost India and so on. But I do think that today's tweet by President Trump is a reflection of America's clearer understanding of India's foreign policy based on strategic autonomy and multi-alignment. When Prime Minister Modi meets President Xi Jinping or President Putin, or there's a trilateral meeting, it doesn't mean that it's going to affect adversely any of India's other foreign policy partnerships, including with USA. We don't see foreign policy as a zero-sum game in that sense at all. And that is why I think that President Trump's tweet this morning was very refreshing and reassuring. And it recognized that, yes, we do see that India and that President Trump feels that India and USA have a strong, comprehensive global partnership. And we want to develop that. He wants to develop it. President Trump mentioned that he recognizes this partnership, recognizes the value of the partnership and the importance of his personal rapport and relationship with Prime Minister Modi. So immediately, as soon as this tweet by President Trump came out, our Prime Minister, as against earlier when he'd been really exercising a lot of strategic restraint in not responding to any of the earlier tweets, the moment President Trump indicated the importance of the bilateral relationship and the personal relationship with Prime Minister Modi, we saw Prime Minister Modi responding very quickly and saying that, yes, he does value the comprehensive global strategic partnership and his personal friendship with President Trump, and he looks forward to it growing. So I do think that it shows that the underlying factors in Indo-US relationship remain strong. And in fact, even while all these tweets were going on and the disagreements on the tariffs were going on, we do know that a lot of other aspects of Indo-US relationship were continuing. The joint military exercises in Alaska, the IMEC meeting, even a civilian nuclear technology agreement having been agreed on, and so many other aspects, and the 2+2 meeting.
Ma'am, while this is certainly a positive development, diplomatic signal, the question remains, how do you read a president whose statements keep swinging back and forth? How do you trust him?
Yeah, I agree that with President Trump, unpredictability seems to be the only predictability, that there are all these differences coming in all the time. But I think that given the fact that underlying whatever the tweets were, the remaining aspects of the relationship were continuing strongly and positively. So I think that gives India the sense that all the other players in the Trump administration have probably been telling him about this, whether it is Marco Rubio or others. And we do know that publicly there have been a host of other, people saying that the importance of the India-US partnership must be retained and must be strengthened. So I think that when President Trump himself reviewed this situation and came up with this positive tweet today on the very specific points that on which there had been concern in India, because we had been concerned in India that we do have a bilateral global strategic comprehensive partnership with the USA. What's happened to that? And we do know that President Trump and Prime Minister Modi had a rapport. What's happened to that? So when President Trump tweets on these two aspects, our Prime Minister responds positively to make sure that we are able to continue that. So I do think that this has been a good reset. We have to watch now whether it is reflected in all the other aspects, and to remember that we do still retain those three aspects of our foreign policy that we have described, that Dr. Jaishankar has described as our red lines, which is that on trade and tariffs, we will continue to protect the interests of farmers and dairy producers, and others, and the micro and small, and also that we will continue to buy Russian oil, and that we will, we do also say that in India and Pakistan relations, there's no place for third-party mediation. So when all this is continuing, I think when President Trump tweets today, it is good that our Prime Minister responded so well.